Good morning. It is Monday. We're jamming out here at News 6. I'm in the News 6 parking lot because we're going to pick up a special guest. Good morning. It is Monday, day after St. Patrick's Day, right in the middle of spring break. I am your traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve, amongst your law enforcement guy, your former military guy, all of it. Right here. And you guys know, if you've been keeping up with News 6, we started a segment called Serving Those Who Serve. And just because we're no longer doing it in studio doesn't mean here at News 6 we're not going to stop supporting our veterans. And we have a strong veteran population here in Central Florida. We have an amazing VA hospital in the Lake Nona area. But with that come a diverse group of veterans, and I'm talking about veterans from all walks of life, recent, older, combat experienced or not, but they're all right here. And with age, you know, whether you're a vet or not, mobility becomes very difficult. But when you're a disabled veteran or just a veteran that can no longer get around, we need to do what we need to do as a community to make sure that these things happen, that our veterans are taken care of. They took care of us, so it is our responsibility as community members to take care of them. Today, I'm going to be welcoming in a DAV representative. Now, this sick vehicle right here that's right in front of me is beautifully wrapped, keeping our promise to America's veterans, it says, and it's labeled the DAV. So we are going to be welcoming in Andy Marshall, who is the current DAV Department of Florida Executive Director. He's the former 2021 to 22 National Commander. So we will welcome in Mr. Andy Marshall into Results 1. Welcome on in, sir.
Thank you, Trooper Steve. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little bit of a hike to get up in here.
Pretty fancy truck.
Pretty fancy truck. If you could put your drink right there if you want. I'll move my coffee. So this is what I like. You could end the call if you'd like, or they could stay with us the whole time. This is Results 1. We call this truck Results 1. I had to come up with a fancy name for it, just so it wasn't Trooper Steve's truck. You know, gotta have some branding along with it. So just to give you a run of how everything looks in here, this is my display screen. This is all the cameras that we've got in here. Anything that's on programming is right here in this box, and then whatever's keyed up will be the next one to go in. But we were showing your fancy write-off a little while ago. Man, I was saying I thought my truck was wrapped real nice.
Yeah,
You've got a nice little distinguished logo here. So Andy, thank you for traveling. You came all the way for Clearwater for this.
Yes, sir.
So very much appreciated. One veteran to another, definitely appreciate you coming out to talk about really what this is. I've seen these vehicles around in the Central Florida area, and I've always been a little curious. Who controls them? What do they do? Obviously, they're military related to some capacity because of the way they look, but when you look real close, you guys were intentional with your wrapping on this. So we'll get into that in just a second, but it is Trooper Steve on patrol, serving those who serve, so we got to drive around a little bit. You okay with that?
As long as we don't go on I-4, like I told you.
All right, yeah. Andy made a special request that we do not get on I-4 under any capacity, and I'm going to support that because the less I have to spend on I-4, the better. So, Andy, man, tell me a little about yourself. You work for, obviously, some sort of veteran organization. Are you a vet yourself?
I work for Disabled American Veterans, the Department of Florida.
Okay.
I'm a combat wounded Vietnam veteran. I was wounded twice in Vietnam, and the second one was severe enough to retire me from the military at the high grade of E4.
E4,
yes,
all right.
Sir.
Well, you know, not many people at E4 get to retire.
Right.
But you served in Vietnam twice, you said you went there.
I was wounded twice.
Wounded twice. To me, that's two missions there.
Two different units.
Two different units, and I know people say it a lot, but I did 2 tours, Iraq and Afghanistan, and I tell you, it means a lot for that. Like, you're the shoulders I stand on. You guys are the reason why I was motivated to serve. I've got no vets in my family, man, and I don't know I think it was my godfather. He was a retired full bird from the Air Force. He was an intel officer, and the guy growing up around him, I just knew I want to be somewhat similar to what he does. Yeah, and so that's why I joined. I went the enlisted route though, but didn't do the commission. And so after retirement, tell me a little bit about your time of service. Like, so you got out, you obviously in a different time.
After they retired me, after I was retired out of Walter Reed Army Medical Center.
Okay.
Spent 15 months there recuperating from the wounds, and then went back to school called Marshall University.
Okay.
I was there before I went to Vietnam and went back, and started looking for a job. And unfortunately, every place I applied, I could not pass the physical
because of the
wounds.
Because of the wounds.
And so that was no good. I kept looking and looking. In fact, my uncle was a foreman at one place, and he couldn't get me in because couldn't pass the physical.
Wow.
So, and then somebody referred me. Actually, the recruiter that I knew referred me to Disabled American Veterans back in Huntington, West Virginia, and they hired me. And,
on the spot.
On the spot, and I spent 41 years working for them, processing disability claims for veterans and their family members and dependents.
So, Andy, from your perspective, though, doing that, finally you were able to find what I would consider a job of service and continuing.
Yes.
How'd that feel, being a disabled vet and getting all these jobs that you were trying to do, obviously saying no, and then you're finding a job helping other disabled vets?
Couldn't have worked out any better for me and my family, actually, for that career. Helping people is personally is a very major aspect of my life, and people who do that help people no matter what kind of service it is.
Right.
It's a great thing, and it could be as little as talking to a veteran on the telephone who's shut in, can't get out, or going to visit him, going to nursing homes, and anything like that. But when I was hired, I worked for 41 years, and our motto is empowering veterans to lead high quality lives with respect and dignity. And when you can help a veteran change their life, it's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, and I could hear it in your voice. Like, 41 years, you're still doing it.
Still doing it.
Still going strong. You were the national commander
2 years ago at the DAV.
Right, from 21 to 2022. 22.
Yes, sir.
So being the national commander, what does that entail for you for the DAV program? A lot of work.
A lot of work. Some travel. The spokesperson for the national organization. It's a lot of things you do. Go to other states for their conventions or go Memorial Day ceremonies.
A lot of awareness, basically.
And, being able to lay a wreath at Tomb of the Unknown was pretty amazing. I thought.
Wow.
An honor to do that, and then testify before the House and Senate Veterans Affairs Committee in February. National Commander does that every year. That was pretty intense. It's just there's a lot of travel, except for December and January, because there's not much goes on.
Not much going on during that
weather
time.
Up north, and I hate going north of Orlando.
Most people have their bubble, and especially now here in Florida, it's like traffic no matter what time. You don't want to go anywhere, and then the temperatures can change at any time.
Yes.
It's so warm here, I'm looking to plan a vacation. I was like, all right, cool, we'll go here. My wife's like, yeah, but it's 40 degrees where you want to go. I go, I forget.
Yeah.
Not everyone's having summer right now.
We just came back from our Midwinter Conference in Washington, D.C., where our National Commander did her presentation before the House and Senate Veterans Affairs Committee. And the weather up there was actually pretty nice. It was 55 degrees for 2 days.
That's comfortable.
In the afternoon, but at night, 5 o'clock,
yeah, no
5:30, down to low 40s.
Man, so real quick, for those that are streaming in for us, we're streaming this at 3 different locations: our website, our app, and our smart app for people's TV. When they see we're talking DAV, what does DAV stand for?
Disabled American Veterans. We're over 100 years old.
Okay.
Chartered in 1920 in Cincinnati, Ohio. We were chartered or formed by a judge, Judge Robert Marks, who was a combat wounded Silver Star recipient from World War I, and was looking for an organization for veterans, by veterans, and that takes care of veterans.
Not some outside source coming in, but look, let's take care of each other kind of thing.
Yes.
So I've seen these vehicles going around the Central Florida area. Most recently, probably about 3 weeks ago, I saw one on I-4. It was a van of some type that had similar markings to your vehicle. What are these cars, and what's the purpose of them?
All of ours are, we have had a relationship with Ford Motor Company since 1920.
Hey, why not? American made, right?
Yes, and so we buy vans all across the country every year. But
When you say we buy
the
the
DAV,
van, the DAV, so
DAV.
you guys individually as an organization purchase them.
purchase these. Some of them by the local chapters, like in Orlando, they've bought them before, and you know we get, of course, a good deal with Ford Motor Company, and once we purchase them and have them wrapped like that, they're used solely to transport veterans to and from their VA healthcare appointments.
So if there's a vet out there that might be mobility disabled or any type, and or not even just doesn't even have a ride, that you guys are the ones that are there to help and kind of step in to make sure they're getting to their appointments.
Our only restriction is they cannot be, they have to be ambulatory.
Okay.
Because we do not have wheelchair ramps and wheelchairs and those, because the VA provides that transportation.
Okay.
For special adapted people. But ours, they take them from the clinics around Orlando, Daytona, and take them to Lake Nona VA Hospital, which is a beautiful facility.
Great
Never
building
seen
there.
it.
Man, it's so nice.
And to and from 5 days a week. We probably, in Florida, I bet since we started that program, over 100 vans we have purchased.
In the state.
In just the state of Florida. And we turn them over to the VA. They provide the maintenance and the insurance, and we provide the drivers.
So you're saying that there's a true partnership between you guys and the VA. Is this solely here in the Central Florida partnership, or is this a national partnership?
Nationwide.
So if I was up in Oklahoma and I was a disabled vet, I could find the DAV chapter within my area, and they're going to have a partnership with the local Veterans Affairs Hospital.
We usually have people at the facility, VA hospital or clinic, who arrange. You have to have someone to arrange these rides every day. Probably half of them are volunteers around the country.
Okay.
The other half are paid by the different states, DV in the different states, not the government. But
you're saying the drivers of these
drivers.
vehicles. So your volunteers, I was reading.
They're all volunteers who drive.
Really?
Yes.
You got to have an active heart of service in order to do something like this. And these are the kind of people you're currently looking for.
Some of them. Florida's a retirement state, of course, and a lot of people are looking for things to occupy their time.
Okay.
I mean, I've had them tell me, well, Andy, the reason I'm out here, my wife told me I better get out of the house and find something to do. She's tired of looking at me all day. Which is understandable.
Right. Get a little break of the house.
You got to do something to occupy your mind and body, and it's doing nothing is not healthy.
Do you find a lot of former veterans that are volunteering for the program?
The majority of them are former veterans.
Not
veterans.
Yeah, I don't know why I said that. Yeah.
And they some of them drive 1 day a week, 2 days a week, 3, 4, and some 5 days a week.
Wow.
And they pick them up. Example, they probably start picking people up, veterans up around 6:30 to 7.
Okay.
Take them to the VA facility, right? And they know what times they're done with their appointments. They wait, there could be 4, there could be 6, there could be 8, there could be 10 of them on this van. Depends on the size of it. And once they're all done with their appointments, because they arrange them close together,
Right.
because that's the only way they have to get back home. And the driver waits there and at the hospital or clinic and is fed, and then they drive them back to their place, drop them off.
So it's full circle here. It's not like,
Yes.
all right, drop, figure out how you're getting home.
Right, full circle.
This organization is picking them up, caring for them, making sure they're getting to the appointment. Then they're sticking around. So when they're done with whatever, because some of these medical appointments are an all-day type of thing. The veteran knows that they're going to be at the VA for a good amount of time.
Several hours. It could
And
be. Yep.
sometimes the biggest stress is wondering how you're going to get home. And you guys are out there standing by for them, kind of thing.
I mean, I hate to say this, but unfortunately, with that our transportation program, some of them will be able to get to their appointments whatsoever.
Really?
I mean, you're talking World War II veterans, Vietnam veterans who maybe can't drive, their spouses can't drive any longer because of their disabilities, and so they have to have some way to get there, and we provide that service.
What is the average, and this is a little bit of my ignorance, but I just know, being a vet of an earlier conflict, a much recent conflict, our vets of our original conflicts in this country are reaching a peak age.
Right.
We're starting to lose a lot of our veterans just because out of age.
Right.
Unfortunately, I've learned here the only thing fair in life is we are going to go, all are going to go at some point. And they're reaching the age where just the age is taking them. What is the average age for some of our World War II and Vietnam vets at this point?
World War II veterans, unfortunately, there's not that great abundance of them any longer, because they're in the 90s, 100 years old.
Wow.
Pretty close, because they served in the 1940s.
Right.
So they were 20 years old, maybe 18 to 20 years old in the 1940s, and that's 80 years ago.
No, you're right. I don't think a lot of people understand then these men were enlisting and these women were involved at bare adult ages. It's not like some of us now getting involved and you're in your mid-20s.
I turned 19 in Vietnam, I think.
That is insane, man.
And
But I look at it too. I was in Iraq at 19 years old.
And our Vietnam vets, most of us are 70s.
Okay.
Right. Some are older because they may have been in career military
And stayed in for a long time.
Stayed in for a long time, and and there's some veterans who discharged from Lake Nona,
Right.
because that's here, and they're discharged from the hospital maybe after hours. Right? Have no way to now get home.
Right.
Because our fans are not operational after hours. Excuse me. And we provide, when requested, we provide Uber and Lyft cards and give those to the VA
Really?
hospital.
That was going to be, look, you already got my list of questions. That was going to be my, I was like, well, you guys seem like you're full encompassing. Meeting you for the few moments that I've known, it seems like you're going to do everything in your power to make sure, whether the vans are running or not, these vets are getting their transportation. I was just about to ask, well, what happens if they're getting out past 5, 6 o'clock from these appointments? You already have an answer for me. You guys are helping with
Like the
rideshare services.
Local chapter here, 16, they would, in our department, we would donate the Uber or cards or rideshare, whatever they use.
Just to make sure that they get home. Right.
And the VA calls it and use those cards we give them, and the veteran gets to go home.
Wow. Man, I think it's just, in the grand scheme of things, it's sad that we do need organizations like this, but it's a blessing that we do.
Yes.
Because in my mind, our vets should be taken care of no matter what, at any point in time, during any time of day. We should never have a homeless veteran on the streets. We should never have a vet that's hungry or a vet that's in need of any type of medical care. But there are so many organizations stepping in and doing stuff like what you guys are doing.
Homeless veterans is a problem. when you're a national commander, you have an agenda. They ask you, what is your agenda this year?
Okay.
Whatever subject. And mine, unfortunately, was suicide, veteran suicide. 21, 22 a day taking their own lives. And unfortunately now, what keeps that up here, 21, 22 a day, was mostly males.
Right.
Now it's females taking their own lives.
We're seeing that number grow on the opposite
It's
side.
growing, yes, unfortunately.
Wow. You talked about your drivers being a volunteer
Volunteers.
force base,
Right.
and how do you vet these guys? How, if someone here locally, I know a lot of volunteer crossing guards.
Right.
They come out just because they want to come out and do something. If someone wanted to come out and do something and make sure that our vets are getting to the appointments and to the transportation they need, how do they get involved?
The VA will do background checks.
Okay.
Okay. Of course, they have to pass a physical.
Okay.
And basically, the only things that will keep them out of being able to volunteer would be if they have seizures, perhaps,
Right.
or severe heart disease.
Something that would limit their driving.
driving ability, safety.
I like safe driving.
Safety, and so they VA will do that. And we've had some say, "Well, I feel like I'm going to drive," but the VA says no. Well, it's not the VA; it's the doctor.
Right, and the VA is not blaming you. There's a physician saying
Hey, I don't think this.
You should be driving a van.
You should be driving a van with 8 to 10 veterans in there.
Right.
And
so if they wanted to volunteer, though, do they contact you, the DAV, or do they go to the VA?
Or go to the volunteer services? Every VA has, well, they used to call it VAVS, Veterans Administration Volunteer Services. Now
Okay.
they call it CDCE, Center for Development and Community Engagement. And they're the ones that take care of all the volunteering at the VA hospital or clinic. There's other volunteering that we do, our members do, such as you're in a hospital, push a veteran to and from their appointment, or take them from their hospital bed up to X-ray or whatever, etc.
It seems like you guys are trying to have that human care around the veterans all the time.
It's important. It's important to them.
Just because I can imagine that, look, I am almost 40. There are days where I think about my service, and there's really not many people I can talk to about stuff like that because they just don't get it, or they just don't want to hear it. And I think it's amazing that you have volunteers that know what they're getting themselves involved with. They know that these vets are going to want to talk about things, and yet they're there for them.
They're there for them.
And they're providing a service.
Yes, they're providing a service. They talk to them while they're driving, of course.
Because I'm sure part of the process is making sure these drivers are friendly.
Yes, make sure they're friendly, and you're entrusting 6 to 10 other veterans' lives to them,
right?
For a couple hours a day.
How big is your, or I say our chapter here in the Central Florida area?
It's one of the largest in Florida. Over 2,000 members.
When you say members, that's a volunteer base?
No.
Okay.
These are
all the employees,
injured or ill veterans from service.
Okay, got it.
We have meetings, we hold functions, we have dinners, we hold fundraising.
So you're not just picking these guys up.
No.
You guys are having events and stuff like that.
We have events to raise money to be able to do this.
I love it.
So if we didn't have, fundraising activities, a lot of them have bingo, not many anymore. Have bingo and things like that, bake sales and dinners to raise money to purchase these vans because
they're not cheap.
They're not cheap.
No, right. But I love how you guys said, so DAV organization will purchase the equipment outright, but then the VA will maintain it for you.
They maintain it.
That's not a bad gig.
Otherwise, they are spending
thousands more
their dollars doing this, which they don't have.
So when it comes to the gas, who takes care of that?
The VA.
This is crazy.
Yes.
In a good way.
In a good way.
I love hearing this right now because I don't get enough positive VA news.
No,
I don't get
no, you don't.
And it is what it is, and this is why we do this live, because they like how I talk, and I call it how it is. I'm a squeaky wheel. We preach a lot, but there's not a lot of action. And seeing that you guys almost full circle, you're picking them up, you're raising your own funds. Are there organizations that you guys are involved with that sponsor, that come in and help you guys out a lot?
Actually, it's a good question. I just developed a relationship with this group called Florida Veterans Foundation.
Okay.
Okay. They're an offshoot of the Florida Department of Veterans Affairs, which is a state government agency.
Right.
And so they raise money themselves. They raised a lot of money recently with something called the Gadsden license plate. It's named for
Yes.
Navy.
Yep. The Gadsden flag.
Gadsden, okay. And money from sale of each plate went to the Florida Veterans Foundation, and they just agreed a couple months ago to purchase 2 vans for us
That's amazing.
and pay the whole cost of it. And one of them will be at Lake Nona, and the other will be at West Palm Beach, places that need them.
Absolutely. West Palm, big retirement spot. I wouldn't mind retiring down there, right?
And and they're different because some of them we have in rural areas. There's not a lot in Florida, but there's some rural areas. But you go to Montana or Dakotas, and big rural areas out there, where you may have to drive 2 hours to go to the VA clinic or hospital.
What's the lifespan on one of your vans?
Well, we usually get close to 200,000 miles on them, then it's time to VA discards them.
So will they resell them and like auction them off?
If they can.
At 200,000 miles in a van, at that point, it's had its
not much.
life.
Sometimes they give it back to us.
Okay.
If we purchased it, and we'll use it as a trade-in.
Okay.
Help trade in.
Right, to support the next
$500 or
the down payment for the next ride
next
kind of
one.
thing.
Yes.
So do you guys have a website?
www.dav.org.
Easy enough,
Easy
right?
enough.
Are you guys present on social media and stuff like that?
Yes.
Cool. So
Yes.
you can look up DAV on Facebook.
Facebook.
Do you guys have Instagram?
No.
All right.
Well, some do.
Some do. Some do.
Don't.
Maybe a little nudge. We'll get some Instagram stuff
Instagram.
here in the Central Florida area. But listen, anything that you guys ever need from News 6, whether it's awareness, whether you guys are having a background volunteer check and you need some PR on it, please. We want to know about it because we want to put it out. For any of you guys watching right now, look, if you're looking for something to do and you don't want to be a Walmart greeter, you don't want to be a Publix bagger or just standing out in the elements and being school resource, all great jobs to keep you busy. But look, you can volunteer your time for a great cause. With the DAV, you can hop on their website, like Annie said. You can contact the VA, their volunteer center, and little did I know, they have that center there so you could volunteer for so many other things. But today we want you to volunteer to be drivers here in the Central Florida area. Do you know how many openings you currently have, or it's always open?
Always openings.
Always openings?
Again, some volunteer one day a week.
Right.
It would be great.
And just
One day a
having an
week.
open schedule. Hey, we've got Steve coming out on Tuesday. He's going to drive for us, kind of thing.
That's right.
At any given time, how many cars do you guys have going on here right now in our area?
Lake Nona
is a big one.
Big one because the surrounding areas, the traffic. Again, we're talking our World War II and Vietnam veterans. A lot of them can't travel anyway.
And at
can't
all.
drive or
Okay.
Nobody to take them, and so. That's why we need volunteers to pick these people up, and you get associated with your fellow veterans.
Absolutely, and I see the need will never stop. We will always have veterans that need some sort of help, especially, hey, 30 years from now, I may need the one
That's
that
correct.
need the DAV.
You never know.
You never know, but it's awesome to know that these guys
Life
right
happens.
Here, life, oh, buddy, do I know. These guys are clearly marked. This is one of their vehicles. This is your ride. Here, but all of them are similarly marked like this. The DAV, pretty trademarked at this point. Well, it is trademarked because you see the little copyright in their corner.
They used to be red, white, and blue.
Okay.
And then about 10 years ago, we changed to these two colors are called gunmetal gray.
I love it.
Okay.
I love it.
Night vision yellow.
Okay, some military colors.
Military
I like.
colors.
Why not?
Yes.
On the other side too, I like the wrap because it showed a disabled veteran that has an amputee,
right.
on it, and that's why I love the diversity here. You could tell one of them is a female, another one's a male.
Yeah.
They've got the hats, they have the beret, a helmet. So it's the wide range
Right.
that I think. Andy, brother.
My pleasure.
No.
Thanks for what you do, and
No.
thank you for bringing recognition to our veterans.
No, I appreciate you making the trip all the way from Clearwater, boss. So, guys, remember, head over to www.dav.org to find out more information on this amazing organization. If you're looking to volunteer, they've got information on their website. I already checked out their page. And you can head over to the VA hospital here in the Lake Nona area to their volunteer center. If you're just interested, one day a week, to hop in one of these great cars, drive them around, have great conversation. I tell you, some of the best conversations I've had in a car or at the bar are with some of the veterans, and you get to
In fact, we're
see
having,
some great things.
on April 6th, Saturday, April 6th, Community Impact Day.
Okay, where's that going
You
to?
ever heard of that?
No.
Well, some corporations also do that.
Okay.
Community Impact Day, where the corporation or business volunteers to go do something in the community for people that need assistance, mow their grass, take them to rides, take them shopping. So it's a nationwide thing, Community Impact Day, and we're heavily involved in that.
Okay.
Where a veteran can contact our website. I've done it where I go cut their grass,
I love it.
clean out their garage, etc. Take them shopping.
Something
So,
that does just need a little
need
help.
Need a little help. So Community Impact Day, April.
April 6th. So I want to see a huge inflow of volunteers to the DAV before April 6th, guys. So, sir, thank you for your service. Thank you for your continued service. I know we say that, it sounds redundant, but I mean that, because I don't think I'd be here without the military, without the influence that it did for me, without my law enforcement background, without you doing what you did.
Well,
So,
you know, it's very strange that for years us Vietnam veterans were not treated very well, not recognized. But you know what changed that? You guys.
that means a lot.
Iraq and Afghan veterans appreciated the service that we had.
Yeah.
So it's Vietnam veterans are getting more recognition. In fact, March 29th is Vietnam Veterans Recognition Day.
Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. I'd love to have you.
Nationwide.
Love to have you come out sometime. Now that we have each other's information, to the Military Museum of History in Kissimmee, off of 192. We hold huge events out there all the time. I'm a board member,
Wow.
and we do. I believe we're doing a Vietnam Recognition Day at the end of the month. So I will definitely send you that, just so you maybe put out to your people out here
Yeah,
too,
we're
and let them
glad to.
know. Sir, thank you again.
Thank you, and thanks for your service.
Thank you guys. Head over to clickorlando.com for all the other information. If you see these cars rolling around, wave at them.
Wave
There's
at 'em.
a amazing veteran inside and an even better volunteer. Guys, love you guys. Have a great day, and drive safely.
Oh, yeah.